One of the largest assets that an individual can own is their home. Now, in Latin, mortgage means life sentence. So the idea is that when you purchase the house, you have a life sentence on it, which is then worked out over a 25, 30-year period. The idea is at the end of that time, the mortgage is then discharged and you own your property outright. Now, sometimes that can be most probably your largest asset that you have. And as you come to look to retirement and you have limited or no resources available in terms of cash or investments, you then look to the family home. And one of the most distressing things you can do is to have to sell that family home. And you may wish to sort of look at how you can release the equity in it, something called reverse mortgages. Now, one of the problems with reverse mortgages is that it's a hidden sort of seepage or creepage that can come into the property. If I give you an example, let's say your house is worth $600,000. You then look at using a reverse mortgage by releasing the equity in that to live off. Let's say, for example, you need another $30,000 a year in order to top up your pension. And you do that over, say, a 10-year period. That would be $300,000 before interest that you've actually taken out of the equity in your home. Great for you, you haven't sold it, you've been able to utilize the equity in it and you've been able to live off that property without necessarily selling the bricks and mortar that lie underneath it. The question though is that if you have a mortgage rate of say 4%, that's added onto the drawdown. And if you draw down regularly, that becomes compounding because the interest is charged on the interest, which is charged on the interest. So while you've taken the $300,000 out over that 10-year period, you may have paid close to $80,000 in interest over that time period as well. So your $300,000 has eroded an additional $80,000 in interest off the equity in the property. Now in part, that's combated by the fact that the $600,000 property over that 10-year period is most probably closer, say, to the $1 million mark, which has given you an extra equity around the same $600,000 you started with. The problem we've got is the length of time at which you start the reverse mortgage to when you come to the conclusion of the reverse mortgage. Because the more you pull out, the more equity that you're eroding, and the interest, compounding interest, doubles almost every 10 years. So when looking at a reverse mortgage, it should be considered as the last opportunity for you to realise the equity rather than the first opportunity to enjoy living in your retirement. They are a useful product, but proceed with caution and make sure you get professional advice to know exactly what you're moving into. Of course, the counter argument is that you could sell your $600,000 property, buy a life interest in a rest home, and you'd find that that would actually go down in value rather than up in value. So the argument is, at least with a reverse mortgage, you've managed to maintain the equity in your property. But as they say, horses for courses, and take the best advice before signing the documents.